Well, my baby, she done left me alone. Said I was a no good and head out on the road. She ain't gonna see me cry, ain't gonna see me shed no tear, mama, no. Why would I cry? I got 6 more waiting on that telephone. That operator praises me, he praises my name. He's been working overtime since you went away. He's got kids to feed, his bills to do, and thanks to you, he's getting that union pay. Brother, I'm working too, full-time job, I'm bailing this hay. I bale hay in the morning, I bale hay at night. Full-time job, living this farmer's life. Baby, can't you see, since you left me, the crops have grown and I got plenty to eat. First you cursed my name and pointed all the blame, rubbing my nose in the dirt.
Oh, what's up? So I was in this house and John Funk. I always said it was actually wrong. Like I know that it's Funky Monkey, but it's actually not Funky Monkey. It's
No, it's a hardy. It's a hardy.
Funka and then monkey, because the word
It's a
monkey
hard-
is
It's
funk
a hardy.
monkey. So very cool. I'm glad to be here with John. We have a great show. If you'll notice in the top of the screen over here, we have the Texas Valor Project. So today on the show, we have a gentleman who's really just, I mean, one of the funniest, coolest dudes I've ever met in this industry. I mean that sincerely. Very cool. What he's doing for the trades is amazing. And so he's a U.S. Navy veteran. He spent a lot of time in the Navy, and he'll talk a little bit about that. But so this particular, yes, thank you for your service. This particular episode is dedicated. We have a charity partner. The charity partner is the Texas Valor Project. For those of you that don't know, John and I ran a tailgate for the Dallas Cowboys game last year when they
No. We
okay.
ran a tailgate for the New York Jets game.
Okay, the New York Jets game that was in Dallas, and
Right.
we raised a shit ton of money for the Texas Valor Project. For the ESPN was there. It was just incredible. Garrett Wilson's family was there. Fireman Ed was there. Super cool. So I'm gonna at points in this podcast, I'm actually just gonna put the Texas Valor Project website up here. They actually, what they do is they donate, doctors donate their time, and people donate money so that veterans can get the brain treatment that they need. And it's at a completely reduced rate. I mean, these are $100,000 surgeries that, you know, they're doing for a fraction of the cost. They're donating their time, but there's materials involved. There's other things involved that they raise money for. So, so please, an incredible charity that has been around only a few years, and they have made incredible waves. So if you're looking for a charity to look into, I would 100% donate to the Texas Valor Project. I've been to one of their events, and it was at a shooting range. It was like absolutely incredible. They're what they've done is amazing. So, John's dad was a veteran. Actually, he's not a Navy veteran, but he was a veteran. But anyway, so it's for veterans in general.
No, my father was Marine Corps.
Hoorah.
And just to be clear, Texas Valor is veterans and first responders.
That's right. It is veterans and first responders. So, so I will keep the logo for the Texas Valor Project up. I'll put the banner down, but I'll periodically, you know, have it scroll. So, ladies and gentlemen, next week, I want to say this now. Next week, I have the Billy Stevens coming on. For those of you that don't know, Billy Stevens is like the godfather of the home services industry. He had like a one truck operation. He turned into the biggest company in all of Dallas. He's one of the founding members of the Wrench Group. He owns Sarah. He owns Billy Go. He's a brilliant mind. He actually has a podcast of his own with Landon Brewer, and it's he's a wealth of information. That being the case, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. Daniel Baker. Yay.
Yo, I know, right? That is awesome. Oh, did I freeze up on you guys?
Yeah, but don't worry about it.
You're fine. Yeah, ignore it.
Awesome.
Just blaze right through it, Dan.
So I think somebody mentioned the Cowboys. So I wanted to make sure that we represent the Cowboys here tonight because we are in the great state of Texas. And yeah, hey, it's great to be on here, Everett. And it's actually pronounced Fonke. I think it's a little bit French Canadian, I think, and FOMO for sure. So FOMO Fonke, which would be like from a really weird place in French Canada. And I'll totally write a bit about that and use it on my next stand-up.
Excellent. Good to have you. I don't know who Everett's talking to right now, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's okay, guys. It's okay. I'm talking to TikTok. It's okay. You guys aren't on TikTok, so I'm just.
Well, I am on TikTok, but under a fake account.
Why are you so incognito, Dan? Why do you have to be so incognito and use a fake account on TikTok? That's crazy.
Oh, he's scared of the Chinese.
Well, listen, your mama. You know, I mean, what do you mean to do?
That's
wow. I mean,
no.
That's the name of the name of your page is Your Mama.
No, I think
no, actually, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, I went from here to there because I mean, so hey, gentlemen, can you do me a huge favor? So I understand that you guys are both Jersey guys. Your accent, it kind of throws me off a little bit. So if you can talk a little slow, maybe we can get out some.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
Wow.
No,
dude.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here, guys. It's a pleasure being here. It really is.
Well, it should be.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Everett, I've known you for quite some time. John, I've definitely seen you on some of the podcasts. And from what I've got to know about you during the pre-show, you look like a really good dude. Hey, thank your dad for his service. That's fantastic.
And thank you.
Just all around good times, man, for sure. Oh, is that TikTok land?
Just you don't worry yourself about things, okay, Dan? You don't worry yourself about things. Let me worry about things, and you don't worry about things. By the way, you talk about you raise up the Dallas Cowboys thing. Okay, that's fine. So for anybody that look at this, I've got the Tony Soprano, the Sopranos Jets shirt right here. I'm wearing the Jets.
That's pretty dope.
It is dope. Yeah, you don't have the Sopranos representing the Dallas Cowboys, huh? I'm just,
I gotta
win it. I gotta win it. Something
on the Jersey Shore, though. I do. I've got a timeshare on the Jersey Shore, so I'm kind of,
No, you don't. No, you do not have a timeshare.
No, I don't.
On the Jersey Shore.
I do not.
You
no,
lying.
No.
You lying bastard.
I thought he was talking about the burritos wearing Cowboys stuff.
Dan, who the hell are you, and why why are you on my podcast? Tell me.
So,
why are you here?
So first of all, again, I'm Dan Baker. I have been involved in the trades my entire adult life. So when I was in the Navy, I joined when I was 17. I was a machinist mate, learned how to work on the big propulsion systems of the ship. So got very interested in mechanics and things like that. Post Navy, actually, I got out of the Navy in Japan, and I stayed in Japan for a couple of years and worked for a Japanese construction company. So that whole thing was really cool. Got back to the States, got into air conditioning, was a tech for a little bit, service manager for a little bit, found an opportunity for a recruiting company that back in the day in the early 2000s, there used to be online job boards were everything. And that's back when Monster and Career Builder and Hot Jobs were really the big ones. I'm not sure if you guys remember those or not.
Hot Jobs.
Some time.
Monster,
but there was a competitor in that space. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So
Absolutely.
I got an opportunity with a company that they wanted to be competitors to those job boards, but very niche specific to the trades. And so with my air conditioning background, I started working there, and so I worked with that recruiting company. It was an online job board / recruiting organization. I was there for almost 11 years, and really loved it. Absolutely fell in love with it. And I knew that I wanted to be in the trades for the rest of my life, but I really liked the vendor side. And so while I was at this organization for that almost 11 years, I got to know a lot of people, right? Helping folks find plumbers, electricians, air conditioning folks all across the country. And I started to really kind of get inside of their heads and understand what the challenges were that they were facing on, on the day-to-day behind the scenes type stuff, right? And back then, of course, now most residential service companies subscribe to some type of flat rate solution, whether they build it on their own, whether it comes, with the software package, that they're subscribed to, or whether they get it through a third-party vendor. But there's an organization called Callahan Roach, and they were the originators of flat rate pricing for the HVAC trade.
Callahan Auto Parts.
Callahan Auto Parts. We
Callahan
make something
Auto
for the
Parts.
good man.
We
That's
make
right.
American
Brake pads.
We make American parts for the American
That's
working
right.
man.
That's right. Here's how the podcast started, and then I just hit it. No, I'm just kidding. That's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
That was a throwback to Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy's a wonderful movie. But so I worked at Callahan Roach for a number of years because I really wanted to understand that whole process. And then, of course, fast forward to, the 2010s, and then, of course, field service management software started to become a really big thing. And I transitioned from flat rate pricing, moved into the field service management software space. This whole time, I've had this buddy who's now my business partner. His name is Wood Boyles. We became friends when he worked for a big national air conditioning and plumbing company. Everett, you guys worked for the same organization. And I was working with them on a national scale. And we became friends. So we had always talked about potentially doing something. So I felt like it was important for me to find out as much as I could about each segment of behind the office stuff, so that if we do eventually launch our own company, we can have educated conversations with contractors about a lot of things, right? Not just recruiting and retention, but also, best practices in this, best practices in that. So, so I started working for the software company. I was there for a number of years, and really started to understand the ins and outs of that.
John, can you hear him?
No.
Dan, you did something, man. You muted yourself or something, man. This guy, I don't know what's going on. He just can't. He
How
can't
about now?
win, this guy. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You got to turn.
Holy cow.
James Ello was like, hey, just lost him. Well, yeah, we did lose him, James. We lost him. Yeah, but he's back now. Okay, so all right, so
I'm back,
yeah.
baby. So long story
John,
short,
he's
I've been
kind of
involved
wordy,
in the
isn't
trades
he? He's
for a long time.
Pretty wordy, isn't he?
He has used a lot of words.
I'm just kidding. Dan, I'm messing with you, man.
So I'll be very short and succinct.
No. It's
20
good. It's
years.
perfect.
It's
perfect.
Trades related. I love it. You love it. Go Cowboys. Field goal.
Hey, Dan.
No.
Dan, so you pivoted from what you were doing, and then when did you get into actual like recruiting for the trades?
So that my very first job when I got out of the field was working for a recruiting company back in 2004. So it started out as an online job board. They were trying to compete with the monsters of the world and the hot jobs. And
that's right.
I would say the name of the company. Yeah. So that's where I kind of dipped my toe. And then we had a full, they call it a full recruiting section as well. So contractors could buy a job posting just like Indeed now. Applicants could fill out a profile and search for jobs just like they could on Indeed. And we had a full cycle recruiting division as well. So I was with that company for roughly 11 years. So I started out early, like in my mid 20s. I since my mid 20s, I've been doing recruiting in the HVAC, plumbing, electrical space, and the positions I've held after that, while it wasn't recruiting, it was understanding how to properly price your services so that you can actually turn a profit, right? And then the company after that was a field service management software company, because hey, paper tickets, they've gone the way of the dodo, and there's a million to one different field service management companies out there. And I don't really want to get into which one I like or don't like. But if you're a homeowner and a tech comes up to your door and he's writing on a tablet, then you're probably not going to respect that person as much as you would with somebody that has either an iPad or a phone. Now, I know that's a little bit silly. They could be the same tech with the same mechanical aptitude, but that first impression in the residential space, especially, software, companies that embrace software, definitely rule. So I spent some time doing that. Then my business partner, Wood Boyles, and I, back in 2019, June of 2019, we officially launched Blue Collar Talent Scouts, and we've been doing this gig ever since.
And that's kind of when we first met. Was at the pretty much you were like a year into the Blue Collar Talent Scouts,
right? So it was right before the pandemic happened, I think, right? Because you live,
I think it was
Rockwall, is that right?
I think it was right after the pandemic had just started.
Was it right after?
Oh, it was like it was like COVID hit. It was like COVID hit in March, and we had lunch at
COVID hit in March because Wood and I were in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so and you have so you recruit like for there's like a major companies that you recruit for, and you recruit like not like one or two guys, but like you've recruited like what, like hundreds of tradesmen, right? Like you've done 20-30 at a clip, right?
Oh, without question. Oh, absolutely. So one of our bigger clients, they're a big electrical construction contractor out of the Carolinas. We've helped them with a couple of job fairs, and those job fairs we're bringing in sometimes 30 plus in a day. So absolutely. I mean, we work with all types of different companies, from contractors that have 4 trucks on the road or 2 trucks on the road, all the way up to companies that are rolling in $250+ million a year.
I'd be interested to hear, like, because you're recruiting, young, for the most part, young adults. I'd be interested to hear some of the more entertaining tales of dealing with that, and dealing with young people and getting them jobs, and the crazy stuff that goes along with that.
So obviously, I do have a couple of funny stories for sure. I will make sure that the hiring company and the applicant's name are totally left out to protect the innocent or guilty, if you will. But
no, that's not necessary at all.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, that's not necessary. No. Blow up spots. That's what we're here for. That's what.
Listen, he still has to maintain He still has to maintain employment, so it's fine. It could be anonymous.
I do. Well, no. So it's interesting. So we work with a lot of different types of applicants, right? What's really cool about what we do, the guys and gals in the field, the folks in the field who really get what we do. So I'm going to kind of take a quick diversion, then I'm going to jump into the stories, because I've got some stories about senior folks and some more green helpers. But we advocate for the applicants, right? And we help make connections, and there's really nothing wrong for the blue collar world to have access to recruiters just like the white collar world does, and if you're an attorney, or if you're a software engineer, or you're a doctor or a nurse, 9 times out of 10, you either have a recruiter that you work with if you're not happy where you are, or you can very easily find a recruiter, and that's just basically what we're trying to do in the trades, right? Help people, find better opportunities. But some, I've had situations where you'll vet a candidate everything that you do. I mean, you can literally go through every possible a scenario under the sun from A to Z. If you're talking to Bob, Bob is a made up name, right? So you talk to Bob, Bob expressed interest. 9 times out of 10, Bob's working for another company, but for whatever reason, Bob's not happy. It happens all the time. So you vet Bob, you get Bob's background. We have some tests that we do over the phone, sometimes via Zoom, that type of stuff. You really try to get a good feel for that applicant. And then what we try to do is we try to help make that connection, right? So if we have a contractor that's looking for somebody that fits Bob's wheelhouse and vice versa, then we'll help make that connection, and then we'll back away. If the contractor likes Bob and Bob likes the contractor, then they can go ahead and create that relationship, and then we move back. Well, we have had situations where some folks, I didn't tell what I was going to even tell these stories. So Wood, sorry, buddy. We've had situations where some older folks are coming into an organization where the service manager is 10 years their junior, and sometimes they just have a hard time with that, and everything seems fine. And we prep candidates for everything that's going on. We want no surprises, but you're dealing with people, and you never know how somebody's personality is going to work out. We've had, listen, we've been doing this for a long time, and we haven't had a whole lot. We've had very few of these, actually less than a handful, but we've had them where a candidate will accept an offer at a company, and then just for whatever reason, their attitude from the time we interview them and create that relationship, the time that the contractor interviews them, they create that relationship, their personality just takes to 180, and it's like, whoa, where did this guy come from? So I've had a scenario where somebody wasn't happy being told by a junior person, hey, will you grab the ladder for me, or something like that. And those stories get a little bit weird. Of course, it got pretty in depth. A lot of very interesting words were shared, and fielding those phone calls certainly isn't fun. But that's a weird scenario to be in for sure. On the entry level side, we do a lot of schoolwork, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. But we had a situation where this younger fella was so excited about getting into the electrical trade. His grandfather was an electrician. His dad was an electrician. He wanted to get into it. I created a relationship with this guy. I made sure that I tried to prep him as much as you possibly can. Like, hey, you do realize that you're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing that. There are some days where it's going to be ice cold, some days where it's going to be really hot. So you have to dress appropriately, make sure that you layer your clothes, all that kind of stuff, right? And then he gets the interview with the contractor. They like him. They bring him on board. A week later, I get this 4-minute long voicemail where he tells me about, I didn't realize it was going to be so hot. I didn't realize it was going to be so cold. I had no idea that I had to be there at 6 a.m. They only gave me 45 minutes for lunch. And so I'm like, hey buddy, I get it. So we've had a small handful of those scenarios.
Like, did he not see his dad or his grandfather get up and go to work in the morning? What? That makes no sense to me. So you're seeing this. It's a mystery. You're seeing this a lot. You're seeing this a lot with in general, the younger generation. And here's the deal. I mean, let's be you can get a lot of jobs these days and never leave your house. Not in trades, not in the trades. You can't in the trades, you're in the trades. You have to go to people's houses, right? But yeah.
Yep.
Dan, let me ask you this, because you recruit true tradesmen, right? Now,
Correct.
one of the sentiments that comes up a lot, okay, in these different trades groups is there is definitely a distinct divide between tradesmen who are literally just tradesmen who fix things, and then there's especially in the residential world, this this demand for for you to sell, and that's a large portion of your income. And obviously this being sales tales, I think everything's a sale. I don't care if you're a doctor, you're selling a service. Like it doesn't matter. Everything is sales, but a lot of people in the trades don't view it like that. Have you represented companies that are sales focused organizations that you've run into problems with this?
I am so glad you brought that up. And I want to be as neutral as possible, right? Because look, it's a
but then
big
that would be really boring.
Contract. Okay. Well, so he well, let me start off a little bit vanilla, and then we'll kind of get into the nitty-gritty, right? So we only represent contractors that we would feel that we would feel comfortable working for directly. Have we had contractors that have approached us that have said, oh, I'm sorry, I just read the comment. So have we've been approached by contractors in the past that that have certain reputations and we have gracefully bowed out? We look, obviously we want to help contractors find people, but our loyalties really lie with the candidates. And what I mean by that is there's such a shortage of qualified folks in the trades that we want to do them right. And we've seen other organizations out there that claim to be recruiting companies and claim to be consulting organizations for jobs in the trades, that they try to represent everything. And especially kids coming out of high school, if you put them into a meat grinder and they're not a meat grinder type of person, then that first job that person has will be their last job in the trades, right? So we try to help make those relationships. So when it comes to sales specific, I'm not a parts changer guy at all. I like folks that do a full diagnostic on a system. I like folks that actually know how to go from A to Z. I like technicians who know how to install, right? Because they can troubleshoot and diagnose the system typically a lot easier than someone that has, at least in my experience in the early stages. And if you take somebody that wants to be a good service technician and you try to match them with the contractor that wants you to sell, it's never going to be a good fit. It just won't be.
Okay. So you make that,
and I know that's kind of a vanilla answer, but
but you make that determination based on the candidate. So that's good. But you do have organizations that are sales minded and sales forward organizations. You just make sure you pair the right candidate with the right, or not
that's
take
correct.
on the client. Okay.
Well, exactly. So we say no to contractors all the time. So we say no to contractors all the time for sure, only because again, we want to represent the candidates in the best way, but it's not uncommon for us to get calls, especially in the HVAC world, HVAC service techs that say, listen, I'm not afraid of commission. I would prefer to be mostly commissioned because I know that I'm good at sales. And if that's the case, and we have a company that we feel is ethical, and they don't mind their technicians selling, then obviously that would be a good match.
Okay. So John,
is that my connection? It was great all day. I can't believe
it was. Yeah, no, it's your connection.
It's you, man. It's you. But John, you got any thoughts on that? Because this is a hot topic.
Oh no.
Oh well, I mean, I've got tons of thought on that, but I just with Dan specifically, right? So I'm trying to understand. Are you saying that typically you're going to choose to not work with a sales first organization? Is that what you're saying? Is that that's your preference?
No. So there are let me try to connect to my phone. I'm sorry, guys.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna read a comment that was from the HVAC Uncensored Nation group. Okay, and this was they, meaning I guess recruiters, whatever it is, they need to be more transparent with people looking into the trades. The conversation often goes from learning a skill to being a business owner like it's Amway. And this is not the first time. And look, Dan, you're friendly with some of these other people that are in the other HVAC podcast groups and these social groups and stuff like that. Anyway, this is a sentiment that I've had to sort of combat. And I have a really hard time, trying to explain to people who are so closed-minded, they won't realize that without the transaction, without somebody getting that maintenance contract, without somebody actually going out there and getting something signed on paper, there is no work to be done. So, anyway, I don't, we beat this to a dead horse. James Elwell came in. James is like pretty much I don't know, he's a well-established guy in the field. I believe what he's saying, that he does not want to connect with companies that he feels are unethical, and they are out there. Yes, James, they are definitely out there. And James also says nothing happens until something is sold. Yeah, of course not. That's pretty straightforward. And I appreciate that, James. And I know you are, you're ethical on both sides of it. And we've talked, and I know that you definitely believe in, in a balance there. John, I think we lost Dan. I think he's gone. And we lost you too. And that's interesting. You're muted, and Dan. So I'm by myself, guys. So here's how this podcast.
I hit the mute button by accident.
It's a nice microphone.
No, that one was my bad.
You got to learn how to use it. I think that's the thing. You have a nice microphone. You really need to learn how to use the microphone.
I just need to not hit the little mute button right here.
Yeah. Don't hit the mute button. I'm gonna remove Dan from stage, and then I'm gonna add him back in. I guess when he maybe he'll just like click the link and come back in. Nope. He gone.
So I understand the ethics thing. I think we've discussed that before. I think we discussed that on here too, right? Like that we talked about that. That's a big thing for me. But I felt like Dan, and that's what I was trying to get to with him. I felt like it went a little bit further than that. And I wanted to hear what was going on there. I don't think it was strictly just the ethics of the company in particular. But I can't see most of the chat. I see James's comments. I got the thing here, but for some reason I'm not seeing most of the comments coming up on the chat that you're posting.
Yeah, that's because I'm the moderator of this thing, and I'm in charge. So because I'm in charge, I get to see all the chat, and you don't get to see.
Why can't everyone see the chat? All the people chatting.
You know what? Because I haven't really figured out how it works.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, Christopher John says, "What's the topic? Ethics?" No, the topic was not really ethics, but it does border on this. So Christopher, what happened was somebody posted a comment before on one of the groups, okay, and said basically like recruiters or whoever have to be more transparent about how they how they recruit people, because there's a difference between guys who fix stuff and want to be in the trades for that reason, and then there's more sales-minded individuals who like more sales-minded companies, and so they think that they're getting a job that just is fixing things, but really they have to be really good communicators, offer options, and ideally a lot of their competition, or a lot of their compensation is tied to performance, and that is what we were essentially talking about. So just to kind of catch you up, and that wasn't like that wasn't where it started, but what I'd asked Dan was, I said, Dan, I was like, have you run it? Because Dan's literally recruited hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people at this point in time to be in the trades. And so we were talking about how he has to treat different candidates differently. And unfortunately, there's just this reality that there's some tradesmen that go into a company, and it's a sales-focused, sales-minded company, and they don't fit in. They thought I just want to go in here and just fix stuff. And unfortunately their job is tied to be able to produce revenue, which is not uncommon, guys. I mean, it's a business. It is a business, right? So, but there's definitely guys that, can do commercial maintenance, can do regular maintenance, that,
there's also different business models.
You guys got.
Okay. Dan is back. Dan,
listen, guys, I apologize for dropping out like that. Again,
it reminded me of. No, it reminded me of the Cowboys' typical season, right? Like you started off real strong, and then all of a sudden, God.
Yes.
God.
Yes. John.
Here we
Somebody
go,
give
Cowboys.
somebody give
Point
John
God.
10
Point
gold
God.
stars. Hey, Gabagoo. I gotta gabagoo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
All right,
yeah,
so
Dan, you're
let me
back.
start from
You're
the
back.
beginning.
Clarify a little bit of that for
You
us.
gotta gabagoo. The gabagoo. All right.
Yes.
Let me
Hold on
clarify.
before you go
There are
on,
lots of different
Christopher.
types of text. Just
Christopher,
like there's lots
I
of-
agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with this statement, by the way. I totally. If somebody's highly mechanical, the residential world may not, but it may. Hey, learn manual J, learn load calcs, learn how to do duct design, and that'll scratch your itch because you'll go into 90% of houses, your ductwork will be undersized, or you won't have enough return air, you won't have enough supply air, whatever it is. So I would encourage people to learn that stuff.
Again, there's different companies with different models. You work for the company that I work for as a mechanic. You're going to be fixing a lot of stuff, and you're going to have a fine time.
Is it because all the installs are all screwed up? I'm just kidding.
No.
Anyway, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Ouch! It's a union shop.
Kidding.
Well, so our goal, right? My organization's goal, we want to help make connections with folks that we know are going to excel in certain areas.
He's gone again. What does he live in, like a Twilight Zone where they don't have Wi-Fi and they don't have cell phone service?
Dude, I don't know. Everything was great until you went live, and then all of a sudden it started popping off. Nobody in the house is on Wi-Fi. I am so sorry.
I should have
man.
just invited you over my house. You only live like an hour away, so
I know. I'm sorry, dude.
it's all good. Well, we can hear you now. Well, no, you know what, Dan? We deserve a zinger now. I need to hear a zinger story because you've been going out. Maybe try talking slower. We've been going in and out here with Wi-Fi problems. Dan, we need a straight story. Wait, Dan, James says we need to get back to Dan's opinion on sales before we move on.
Sales first companies.
We need to get Dan's opinion on sales before we move on.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, Dan loves sales. Dan's like literally like the best salesman.
Okay, well, so no, I'm not. Am I gone?
No,
you're
here.
good now.
You're here.
Yeah,
You're
you're
here.
good.
No, I'm here.
Everett overreacts. Everett
Okay,
overreacts.
holy
to a
cow!
lot of
Again,
things,
I'm
man.
embarrassed. Yeah, well,
Don't ever be in an earthquake with Everett.
That, but
Don't ever be in an earthquake with Everett. Trust me.
so so my opinion is, as long as companies are ethical, if a contractor is okay with the service tech ripping off Grandma Smith, I have a problem with that.
Okay. All right.
And if I know that a contractor is the type of contractor that is going to have their technicians, then I'm out. There you go.
Yeah, I agree. Dan, Dan,
How's that? What comes back?
I'm so sorry.
The people that stream this podcast later on are so clueless.
I don't even know. Yeah, like I'm gonna have to. I'm not gonna edit it. I may start with a message in the beginning. It just goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, there were like some serious technical difficulties." So, Dan, stories. I want to hear shit that you've been through that shaped who you are. That's what I want to hear.
Okay, so I've got so there's two things, right? Did I tell you the story about how I got a job at Lowe's for a comedy bit?
No, you never told me that story.
Mm-mm.
All right.
And you won't, apparently.
So going to Lowe's consistently over and over and over. I decided to get a part-time job at Lowe's in the evening.
Okay. What happened?
I decided to get a part-time job at Lowe's in the evening. I got it just because I wanted. This is many years ago, right? I did it for a comedy bit, and so they were hiring tradespeople or former tradespeople to help direct folks. Hey, are you looking for plumbing? Are you looking for filters? You're looking landscaping equipment, whatever. And so I got this job, this part-time job, because I noticed about and the greeter that they had was very kind of low key with no energy. So I interviewed with this guy. His name is Scott. I'll never forget. And I purposely brought my energy level down. And he goes, well, are you going to feel comfortable talking to people, when they come in the door? Because I'm going to need you to greet them and show them, which department to go to. And I said, and am I off?
No, you're on.
You're good, man.
Poor
Just,
Everett. Everett's sitting there.
just keep going. Just keep going. You're good.
So, and Scott was like, are you going to be okay? And I said, well, I don't know. I'll try. I'll really try. And he goes, all right, so shadow me for 3 days. And then I'll show you exactly what to do. And then you just follow my lead. Okay. And we'll see how it goes. I said, all right. So he said, the most important thing is welcome to Lowe's, pause for 3 seconds. Welcome to Lowe's, you in plumbing, or can I introduce you to the plumbing section? Welcome to Lowe's. Let me try my phone. This is horrible. I promise I've got good internet, guys.
All right. So welcome to Lowe's. John.
Pause for 3 seconds.
Welcome to Lowe's.
Let
Pause for
Jada
3
out.
seconds. And
welcome to Lowe's. Pause for 3 seconds.
And then what?
Can I introduce you? Can I interest you in a toilet?
Can I interest you in a toilet? Can I bring you over to our toilet section?
Have you used the turlet today?
For 3 days, I had to watch him.
Turlet.
Oh man.
Go ahead.
3 days, you had to watch him pause for 3 seconds.
Right,
for
I'm
3
just
days.
going to open. I'm going to open it. Hold on. I'm opening this up in my phone, guys.
Same time.
That's okay. We're going to talk about turlets.
Turlets.
We're going to talk about turlets. Now, John, your pronunciation of toilet is turlet?
Turlet.
Turlet. It's not a turlet.
No, not turlet. Turlet.
Am I spelling it? Am I spelling it correctly?
No, you're not.
Oh, okay. Let me spell it correctly. I think it's spelled like this, but then it's actually pronounced the way that you say it. I think that's the way it's spelled.
No. It's not
spelled toilet, and then you just say turlet.
I'm pretty sure it's TURLIT.
So I was on the Misfits of HVAC podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I did it from a boat because I thought that would be fun. And
toilet on the ticker,
Dan. But the funny part about it is that I was in and out, but I wasn't really in and out. I was talking the entire time, but there was like a lot of things going on, so I kept having to like go in and out. So Dan, I feel your pain, by the way.
He don't give a shit.
I'm gonna take. So, John, any interesting sales calls that you've ran recently? Anything?
Dude, no, there's been nothing interesting. It's been
here we
in
go.
The high 90s with the real feel. Oh God.
Yes.
Okay, high 90s with the real feel. All right, so Lowe's. This has been eventful.
I tell you what, you're going to have me back on, and I'll just do it on my phone next time. I don't know what that was. Okay, so
you're good. Now you're perfect. So let's roll.
You're good. 3 days, 3 seconds.
So I got a part-time job at Lowe's. Got for a comedy bit. They were hiring tradespeople or former tradespeople to help show customers where to go in the store, plumbing products, landscaping products, etc. The guy that I interviewed with, his name was Scott, a local college kid here, and he said, I purposely kind of downgraded my personality. I acted like I was pretty shy. And he goes, now, Dan, are you think you're going to be okay talking to these people? And I said, well, Scott, I think so. I'll certainly give it a shot. I love Lowe's and I like helping people. He goes, all right, well, shadow me for 3 days. And the most important thing is when folks come through the door, you say, hello, welcome to Lowe's. And you have to pause for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Can I interest you in whatever, right? So for 3 days, I listened to him go, "Welcome to Lowe's," and he would go like this with his hands next to me. 1, 2, 3. Can I interest you in this? Can I interest you in that? Blah, 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 blah. Well, after the 3rd day, it was my turn to go up there. And he goes, so I clocked in for my shift. And he goes, "All right, Dan, it's your day. Are you going to be okay?" And I said, "Scott, I don't know, man. I'm a little bit nervous." He goes, "Look, all you got to do, just talk to people the way you'd want to be talked to. That's it. That's all you got to do." And I said, "Okay, I think I can do it." He goes, "All right, well, listen, I'll be right here if you need anything. And the most important thing is pause. Welcome to Lowe's. Pause, pause, pause. Can I interest you?" And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. The door opens. It was a guy, his teenage son, and his wife coming through the door. I look over at Scott, and I'm like, "Can I do it?" And he goes, "No, you'll be fine." He goes, "Remember, you'll be okay." So then I kind of took a breath of air, and as soon as they got close, I said, "Welcome to Lowe's, motherfuckers. Want to see some toilets and shit?" And he immediately pulled me off the floor. And then when HR, so they had an HR rep on site, and she was giving me my exit interview 30 minutes after, and she asked me, she goes, "Well, why do you think you got terminated?" And I was like, I didn't pause. Because
I didn't pause.
Yeah, it was the no pause.
Wow.
So this was totally planned. Now, did you record this?
I did not. I have used that for, actually, I'm going to take that bit to Kill Tony down in Austin. I don't know for any comedy fans, but yeah.
Talk about this. So you're going to be on Kill Tony. For those of you guys who don't know Kill Tony, it's a show. It's a Rogan comedy show club.
Yep.
And Dan, so you're going to be on Kill Tony. So
Well,
you get 30 seconds or 1 minute.
Well, no,
excuse me.
They give you a minute, but here's the thing: there's no guarantee.
Excuse me. Hold on.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me like maybe I'm from New Jersey and not Texas?
No, Kill Tony's an international show, bro. It's on. What are you? We've been hiding under a rock, bro. So basically, here's what happens.
So hey, yo, FOMO, I'm on this thing called Kill Tony. Okay, it's a podcast, right? Is that you said? Talk to you like you're from Jersey, right?
That was a terrible Jersey accent, by the way.
Listen,
That was awful.
all the shows I
so
watch,
Kill Tony.
I nailed it.
Kill Tony's a podcast.
It's a show. It's a podcast. It's hosted at Mothership Comedy Club in Austin. It's millions and millions. In fact, if you guys want, real quick, just so
awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really
cool.
Well,
so I'm not guaranteed a spot on there. You know, you can get invited to go, or you can go, and they have people who are regulars. There's no guarantee of anything. I'm going to give it a couple of shots. You write your name down on a list. They put your name. You don't. But I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it the old college try. It's a couple of times from Dallas to Austin. It's not that far of a drive, so I'm definitely going to give it a couple of shots for sure. Again, pardon me, everybody, for my really crappy connection. I kind of want to, if it's okay, kind of want to backtrack a little bit. When it comes to contractors and who we represent, I want to help make the best match possible. There are some companies where they're ethical contractors that have a program in place where people who like to sell can make a lot of money. And if an applicant is looking for that, or if their aptitude or skill set is in line with that, without question, we'll make that match. Now, if it's a contractor who is known for ripping off Grandma Smith, we're out. You know what I mean? Period. Hard stop. So I saw somebody before I broke up there ask, like, are you against selling? No, not at all. I mean, and Everett, I think I heard you say it's a business. For sure, it's a business, right? But not every tech wants to be a selling tech, right? There are plenty of contractors that want good mechanics to go out there, troubleshoot, diagnose. And so it's our responsibility to help make those connections. So we try to vet the contractors we work with as heavily as possible. And the best way to do that is to talk to people, look online. It's hard to hide from things online. And then we do our best to vet candidates on the other side as well. So hopefully that erased any type of confusion. I'm not anti anything, except I'm anti ripping off customers, period.
Totally get it.
Yeah, especially with younger kids, right? A kid coming out of high school, we all know that the average age of a tradesperson anywhere USA is somewhere between the late 40s and early 50s, right? Those are facts. And of course,
fans.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is. And so kids coming out of high school actually wanting to work with their hands. It's starting to pick up a little bit now, because I think spotlights really kind of started to be shown on that on that deficit of qualified trades folks. But still, every new person, male, female, guy, gal, whatever, coming out of high school, going into the trades, if they work with a contractor and they get a bad taste in their mouth, that'll be the first and last job in this industry they'll ever do, right? So when we're working with young entry-level folks, we definitely want to make sure that we help put them with a company that is in line with their personality and ethics as best as possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. That's
so. What other? Do you have any strange adventures, Dan?
I do. I have a lot of strange adventures. I've got some interesting trade adventures. I've got some interesting adventures that are non-trade related. Where would you like to go?
Yeah, I want to hear him.
You want to hear him?
I mean, if you look at his face, he wants to get very close and personal with you. Is what it looks like.
I do. Well, I miss you guys.
He was looking all kinds of seductive at you, Dan. Hey, Dan, you got any?
I know. He's like, hey, yo.
adventures?
Are you sitting there thinking that the first half of this podcast is a nightmare ever? Don't worry, we'll make up for it in spades on the second half.
Oh no, I like so the fact this is unedited and uncensored, and people say whatever the fuck they want, dude. And I have a guy who is like I'm talking like a bazillionaire who messaged me, who was like telling me all this shit, like fucking fuck this and fuck that. Like, I want to go on your podcast and talk about all this crazy shit. And I'm like, it's like, this is like, no one gets to do that in any other people's podcast. They don't get to share their experiences because it's a fucking commercial. The whole thing is a commercial. The whole thing is like, oh yeah, I have this product. I'm saying that's fine. I'm fine. This is not that. And that's why John's here, because he's a funny motherfucker.
He is. He's got a funny name. Monke from
I like what you said. It was FOMO, but
FOMO,
Dan,
baby.
So you're a haunted house guy. Listen, talk about the haunted house.
I was, yeah.
This is crazy, John.
So and we actually still have a YouTube page. I took the website down, but it's called Dan's Haunted House.
So original.
Dan's Haunted House. Why? Because it's mine. And we were a nationally rated haunted house, and I ran it until 2018. We were a Japanese themed haunted attraction. We literally were on CNN, the top 5 or 10 on CNN, multiple years in a row, consistently making lists all over the place. It was a very interesting concept because all of our characters were represented by Japanese mythology. We didn't have chainsaws. We didn't have clowns. We didn't have zombies. We didn't have blood and guts. It was a less is more type concept. All of our costumes were original Japanese, kimono, things like that. I had suits of real authentic samurai armor. All of our silicone masks were made by a company out of Hollywood called Immortal Mask, and they do all kinds of special effects for movies and bands and all that kind of stuff. So we were all in for sure, and it was an absolute blast. It was a complete and total blast. Yeah. The challenge.
Dude, you were able. I know it's a lot of work. You were able to make some. You were able to make a little money doing it too, right? I mean,
it was profitable, and I would put money back in every year to that. Well, so the reality is, it was an outdoor haunted attraction, and so I had 6 acres outside in the woods, which made it even creepier. See how the lights went out and they came back up. FOMO, we're doing this, dog. Are you in? Are you in, FOMO?
He's talking into a microphone that's actually muted.
You brought us into it. Shut up, you asshole.
So yeah, we were profitable. But I would put the money back into it. It was an outdoor attraction. And were you down here in 2018 or no? When did
19.
you move out of Texas? Okay,
19.
So in 2018, I know we got a lot of rain this year, but in 2018 in North Texas, it rained harder than it's ever rained before, and all the lakes were just crazy full. And it was good if you love rain, but for me, having an outdoor attraction, it was bad. So I was flooded out. Of the 13 shows that we normally do, we could only do 1.5 because we were consistently being flooded out. So I lost 6 figures on that venture that year, and I decided to put a pause on it. And then Wood and I started Blue Collar Talent Scouts in 2019, and I was kicking around the idea of starting it back up in 2020. But then COVID happened, and of course, everything shut down. That rolled into 2021. Now I still have the domain. Our YouTube channel is up. It's pretty funny. Dan's Haunted House. It was actually endorsed by Rob Zombie, Weird Al Yankovic, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, all kinds of really cool people. So yeah, we had a total blast.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So John, I'll let you talk about Jane Silent. So John and I, and especially John, huge fan of Kevin Smith and all of his stuff. I mean, they're obviously
We're Jersey.
We're obviously Jersey guys. So HVAC Nate says 6 figures. I would just give up. LOL. Yes. So he did.
Well, yeah,
give
I
up,
did.
Nate. Also, by the way, Nate is going to be on the podcast on Tuesday next week.
Hey, what's up, Nate?
I'm doing 2 shows next week. I have a lot of guests coming up, but just the scheduling, the way it worked out. Nate does he has actually a really good presence, like thousands of followers on TikTok. He does these cool, little tips, right? And he starts all of his HVAC tips. Like he goes like this, like, what's up, HVAC guys? We're going to do a tip today. And it's like, rah, sister, bye. It's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
I love it.
So Dan, I know that you
whatever, dude. I don't know if it's Monday, bro. It's Tuesday, Monday. It's next week. We'll figure it out. Okay.
Dan, you were endorsed by all those famous people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware. Everett and I have been endorsed by 10 years of grammar school students in South Plainfield for our haunted houses.
Oh, so you guys, isn't that fun? Man, I'll be honest.
It's the Halloween party at the school that our kids go to, or went to, mine do go to.
Oh, that's right. You were talking to me about that a couple of years ago.
I love doing it. I love every bit of it. I did it for literally probably 8 years. Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun. If we get a budget, it's
nothing like what you. It's nothing like what you did.
Well, well, that's how I started out. So I live in a pretty cool town, and then every Halloween we would do haunted house hay rides and stuff like that. And, I had a lot of friends here in town. And so we would build like a little mobile haunted house for our kids. We would take his trailer, frame it out, put smoke machines, strobe lights, loud music, all that kind of stuff. And then when our kids got too old to do it, I have, an area, a piece of land next to me with a bunch of trees. So I talked to the city and I said, hey, if I were to build something on this lot next to me, would you guys cover me under the city insurance? And they said, sure. So my family and I would build it every year. We'd spend 2 months. You can do amazing things with pallets, right? So I would gather thousands of pallets, right? You could build rooms and solid structures as long as you do it properly and reinforce them the right way. And we would do that every year. And it got so big that the last year we did it, and you can still find the stories online. I don't know if the videos are there. You can Google Dan Baker Haunted House. And what I did, it was that I was still working for the first recruiting company at this time. And this is a little white lie that I did. So, hopefully if I still have a reputation after this, you guys don't discredit me after I tell you this next thing. The town loved it. And I was going big, big, big. And I had all my friends from the neighborhood that wanted to work at it. And so I had my recruiters at the recruiting company that were under me. I said, hey, listen, guys, do me a favor. I want you to call Channel 8, you call Channel 5, you call Channel 4, and pretend like you're a neighbor of mine and say, listen, we've tried everything. This guy does all this devil stuff for this haunted house, and the town won't do anything. And we're so frustrated. So I had everybody in my office send emails and call all the major news outlets. And on Halloween night, we had live spots on Channel 5 and Channel 8 the entire night. And there was a line of hundreds of people that came out to see our little show outside. It was awesome. And again, that was a little white lie that I told, but I fessed up to it after the fact. And it got so big on the I guess they call that home haunting side that it just made sense to go pro. But I tell you, I kind of regret going pro only because we had so much fun doing it as a family. And once you put insurance to it and you're paying, I mean, at its biggest, I had 65 paid actors. I had a full security team. Everybody's radioed out. I had searchlights. I had billboards. I mean, I had the whole bit, and then it becomes a business and then it kind of strips the fun out of it. So, doing it at school for your kids, that's the way to go, man. I kind of wish I would have stayed doing it that way.
Dana Genova Lapel, I don't know who this is. She says, are you writing all this down for John for this year's party?
Yeah. I'm all set. I'm gonna be asking the Riley PTSO for about $10,000 for the budget.
Well, apparently you're going to need more than that based on. Hey guys, so here's what I'm going to do, and I like this little feature that I can do here. I'm actually going to go ahead and Dan, I found your. I'm gonna share this.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at this.
Yep.
It's 40.
That's one of our commercials.
Oh wow, I'm scared. This is no joke, Dan.
Nope.
I don't see the house though. I love it.
Yeah, so every year we would do about 4 or 5 goofy videos, and then we would do 1 or 2 serious videos. And yeah, if you're scrolling, that's our YouTube page. And if you scroll on there, you can find where Rob Zombie, Weird Al Yankovic, you can see Jay in there. You go, scooch to the dudes. So that part was cool, man.
Schnoogans.
Schnoogans. I really,
yeah, absolutely.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was really
yeah,
cool.
and I got to tell you, so I love what I do in the trades. I mean, the trades has literally brought me to where I am today, coming from the field, working and recruiting, doing what I'm doing now with recruiting and consulting with my partner Wood and our team here. Our top guy Michael's phenomenal. But you got to have fun too. You know what I mean? And I definitely love to do things that are kind of out of the norm, because everyone says that life is short. I don't believe that. I believe it's the longest thing you're ever going to do. So shame on you if you don't do the things you want, now.
I knew that, from the time I actually met you, I thought that. I'm like, here's a guy, he works really hard and, he really enjoys himself too. So Dan, I asked this question of everybody. I have to ask it obligatorily here. And I'm curious. So what's one experience that you've had in your job, right? In your field recruiting that like lives with you, that stays with you wherever you go?
Well, so I'm actually getting goosebumps. So I'm going to do kind of a blanket statement, then I'm going to talk about a very specific one. What we do at Blue Collar Talent Scouts is we help make connections, and 9 times out of 10, we're helping someone go from a situation where they're either not happy or not being properly compensated to a better situation. That's the goal, right? I'm a family guy. You don't have to be a family guy for this message to resonate. But if we can help one person better themselves and their family, then it is an absolute win for sure, right? And that's for folks that are in the field moving from one company to the other. Helping kids coming out of high school who are a little bit intimidated about using their hands because they've been tied to a phone pretty much their entire adolescent life, showing or seeing them get a spark in their eye because they're like, wow, I actually connected this and it works. You turn on the water here and it's actually powering that over there. Or I can flip a switch here and there's a light that comes on in the other room. That is super exciting. There's one gentleman in particular, I'll never forget him. He was a Navy vet as well. He was kind of down on his luck. He was a tradesperson, just moved to town, had some bad luck. And we all go through bad luck, right? I mean, we all like to think that we're better than people get down on their luck. I was able to place him with the contractor, and the contractor knew his situation. And that guy's been there for I think almost 3 years now. He's one of their top people, and he went from being almost homeless to now being able to not just take care of his family, but his family thrives. And that is phenomenal. And that's from a connection that I helped make. Not that guy couldn't do it on his own, but I got to know him. I got to understand him. I didn't look at him as just as a piece of paper. And that's one thing I want to cover before we leave for sure, and give contractors a couple of tips for free, obviously. But when it comes to recruiting and hiring, everybody's so used to looking at a 2-dimensional piece of paper. Everybody's used to text messages. Everybody's used to instant messages or emails. Well, I'm a telephone guy. I want to talk to people. I want to see your expression. I want to hear your intonation. Why? Because we're more than a 2-dimensional piece of paper, right? We're more than a two-dimensional piece of paper. And so
Amen.
if I would have just looked at that person's resume and not had a conversation with him and got to know him, then who knows what would have happened to him. So every single applicant I talk to, I always have a conversation. A resume is just give me enough information to make me want to give you a call. That's it, you know? So that's got to be one of the biggest ones, man. I mean, and Wood and I talk about this all the time. I mean, every single time we help make, obviously we want to help contractors. We want you to help fill your trucks, all that kind of stuff. But again, I'm being honest here, folks. Our feel good is when candidates find better opportunities with contractors that aren't going to bounce their checks. They're not going to make their techs go across town because they've already run out their credit at Supply House on the east side. Now you got to go to Supply House on the west side. You know, I like helping guys get opportunities with people who, who know that they're going to be taken care of and be able to elevate their condition. So,
yeah. And when you say it, I believe it. I think that you're a very sincere person.
Yeah, that full stop on that, full stop for sure. You know, and to the contractors out there, look, whatever business model you have, just be ethical. Just be ethical. You know, don't rip. I mean, if you rip off customers, then it's the field's going to know about it. I mean, there's already a shortage of qualified people out there. So you have to be the best contractor in your area to work for. Now, does that mean you have to pay the most? No. Does that mean you have to have the fanciest trucks? No. Some folks in the field, they want to work for a smaller company because they like the family atmosphere. Some folks in the field, they want to work for a large organization that gives a lot of commission opportunity. Some folks want to work for a hybrid. So you don't have to be the best company overall. Just be the best company that you can be to work for in that space. And then that'll greatly increase your odds of success when it comes to hiring folks, you know?
You know what's kind of, I don't want to say sad, but it's kind of, I don't want to say troubling either, but we spend so much time, especially even on this podcast, talking about ethics and not working for a company and so forth. And we spend a lot of time covering it. And it's kind of like, I don't know why, but it just gets at me a little bit. And I'm glad that you've addressed it or whatever. But yeah, it's just thought provoking. That's all. So Dan, this has been really, really a great conversation, aside from like about 15 minutes in there when we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, you're going to have me back on so I can do a full episode for sure. And give me a little bit of notice.
Yeah, Dan. So
he's got until 2:30, so we don't have to stop.
Dan, 2:30 a.m. Dan, where can everybody find you? How do they get in touch with you?
So if you're interested in what we do, if you're in the field or interested in going into the field, whether it's air conditioning, plumbing, or electrical, residential, commercial, industrial, light commercial, a combination, new construction versus service, we swim in all those waters. You can find us at www.bluecollartalentscouts.com. We have a Facebook account, a Twitter account, or X or whatever they call it, an Instagram. We have a TikTok. We've got YouTube. We've got all of it. BlueCollarTalentScouts.com. Yep. My name is Dan Baker. My business partner is Wood Boyles. He's a phenomenal guy. Our top gentleman's name is Michael. Now, if you're in the field and you are just curious about what might be out there, hey, man, give us a call. Confidential conversations. If we're able to help make a connection, great. If not, no harm, no foul. Conversations are free. And again, if white collar folks, if accountants and nurses and attorneys and software engineers, if it is regular every day for them to have a recruiter that they can talk to, then why can't we do it in the blue collar world as well? And that's what we represent. We represent opportunities that if they're better than what you have, cool. If not, again, no harm, no foul.
Hey,
absolutely.
Dan, can you also talk about, before we go, can you talk about what you're doing in high schools? Because this is like,
So one of my favorite things, and I have to give a massive shout out to my partner, Wood Boyles. Wood Boyles is amazing at putting together presentations and things like that. And early on, Wood made some connections with a few junior highs and high schools. And so in that sense, kind of blossom into something a lot bigger. We're pretty regularly, in high schools and junior highs for
That
Matter of
face
fact,
expression.
I was just down in Texas A&M Commerce location. I think they really like us down there. They have a big career fair for. I don't think it's really career fair. I think they call it job days or trade day or something like that, where any industry can go down there and basically show you what you're about. Lots of computer stuff, lots of development stuff, but they really like us because Wood always puts together these awesome presentations that break down apples to apples, the actual hard cost of college and the potential return on that investment versus being in the trades. Now, we never tell anyone that we think college is bad. I don't think college is bad. I think going into college debt just for the sake of going to college, I think there are better ways to do things. I mean, we were like that growing up, right? I mean, most kids coming out of high school, I'm a Gen Xer, especially coming out of high school, like, hey, if you don't go to college, you'll never amount to anything. Well, we all know that you can make a handsome living in the trades and have a job forever, right? So we try to share with these kids an apples to apples breakdown of this is what it costs to go to this type of school, this type of school, this type of school, and then you'll be doing this for X amount of years, and what percentage of these types of jobs, people with these types of degrees actually get jobs in these professions versus now you've got a degree, you've got all that debt, but you end up working in a non-related industry, right? So we break that stuff down. And then we also show the same person, but instead of going the college route, going the trades route. And again, we never tell kids that college is a bad idea. If you want to be an attorney, if you want to, if you want to do a lot of things that require a degree, then college is the only way to go for sure, right? But we just want to make sure that they understand that there are options, and we want to try to help them consider the trades. And what's really neat after every single one of those presentations is we'll have kids coming up to us, male and female, guys and gals, come up to us and say, hey, my brother's a plumber or my uncle's a plumber and I'm very interested. And then they'll reach out to us and we try to help put them on a path so that whenever they graduate high school, we can try to help them go to a company that is interested in training them how to be a good plumber or a good HVAC tech or an electrician. It's awesome, especially post-COVID. Post-COVID, we all know that whether you're watching this now or you'll watch it later, a lot of people were affected, by COVID. And I'm not talking about the medical side. I'm talking about employment wise. There were a lot of jobs that are either now obsolete or have since been completely offshored that will never come back. And I'll always ask that question. And I'll say, you don't have to raise your hand or not, but does everybody remember COVID? And everybody's like, yeah, I remember COVID. And then I ask, well, does anyone here know someone, either a family friend or somebody in your family whose employment or their job was affected because of COVID or this or that? And sometimes people raise their hand, but more often than not, you can look around and see kids are like, yeah, you can kind of see it in their face. Well, then I let them know about how the trades were doing. Everybody had a pause during COVID. Everyone did. But I know more companies that were doing bigger numbers during COVID, especially residential, than anything else. Why? The more people are home, the more switches they're flipping, the more toilets they're flushing, the longer that AC's on, the heat's on. And then I give them a real world example of why considering the trades is not a bad idea. Again, we're not trying to shove and cram the trades down their throat at all. We're not trying to make them feel bad if they want to go to college. All we're trying to do is just offer them an option that is painted in a better light than what they probably know, right? And most people, if they don't have tradespeople in their family, they probably think of, oh, that's a dirty plumber. Oh, that's a dirty HVAC. Oh, trades are where you go if you can't make it. Well, everybody here on this podcast, anybody listening, we all know now. And what is the phrase now? Got a couple of friends that coined the phrase blue is the new white. Blue is the new white collar. I mean, it's not uncommon to be a six-figure blue collar person with no collar.
Yeah. That's something that and I think that there's a lot of animosity I think there's a lot of animosity towards like people who did go through that route, especially my generation, dude, who they spent all this money on college. Like I'm talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars in times.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
$40,000-$50,000 a semester to come out to grab a job for 50-60 grand a year. And then after after 5-10 years, you're making like 80, 90 grand, and like a high quality plumber's making that after 2 or 3 years. And and I don't think, or even like HVAC, whatever it is. But here's the thing that also people don't understand is that there's also, like, they're saying, well, what's your ceiling? You're always going to be in houses. You're always going to be bending over with the plumber's crack, like, looking at stuff. Like, no, there's a career path. Like there is actually organizations where there's a career path. Like there's foremen, there's superintendents, there's service managers, there's sales managers, there's project managers, all sorts of stuff in the trade that need to get addressed. And the problem, and listen, the two other people on this podcast have made a really good living, okay, and support families by working in the trades. I owe my entire success to the trades, the HVAC plumbing world. Like and
you have more options. Like, you have more choices,
John, I think you're about to,
and you have more options, right? You don't have to be stuck, like, right, what Dan does, right? You don't have to be stuck at the company. You can find the place that has the path that you want. The career paths are there. The options are there. It's easy to be your own boss if you think that's what you want and you're capable of doing it, right? There's plenty of people that think they want to be their own boss that shouldn't be. But either way, the options are there. You can learn that lesson if you want to.
Well,
it's all there for you.
Well, John, I'll take it a step further. Are you guys familiar with Jelly Roll?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You remember that speech that he gave?
No.
Yes.
So
I
do.
do.
And that's one of my favorite things. And I don't know the whole speech, but one of my favorite parts is he says, and there's the reason why the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. All that kind of stuff. He's kind of preaching it. There are more opportunities in the trades than just contractors. If you're in the trades and you decide that working in the field isn't good for you, but you have years of experience, how many vendor companies support the trades? How many suppliers are there? How many manufacturers are there? How many software companies are there? How many flat rate companies are there?
Dan, not to interrupt you, but you bring up a good question, and maybe you know this because you have statistics on this stuff. What is the statistic on, like, there's going to be a major deficit in tradesmen coming up because the baby boomers?
So those numbers, so you get those numbers in lots of different places. And Woods, probably, if he's watching, he's like, don't screw this up, Dan, because I just told you yesterday. So I'm going to, but
you're going to screw it up, aren't you, Dan?
I think stats are like for every, like, is it every 12,000 folks that retire, there's 3,000 that come into trades or something like that? Or is it every 7,000 that retire, there's only 3,000 that come into trade? So every day that we wake up with a deficit, period. Right? And then how many new contractors do we have starting up? A lot on the daily. We just do. And so, and the population's booming, commercial is booming. So opportunities for the trades are huge, especially in the market that we're in now. I met a gentleman, actually, Colin. He commented. I saw you shared this podcast was going on in one of the boards, and I think his name was Colin. He goes, "Yeah, I went over. Yeah, he was over at my house the other day. Helping me out with this thing. Yeah. He's an awesome dude. Awesome dude. This guy, he has the temperament and mechanical aptitude of a 10+ year guy, and he hasn't been in the field very long. Because the work is there, and if you're hungry and you're a sponge and you want to learn it, you can absolutely do it. And this isn't just BS that's being talked about. We all experience it. I don't like. So I think, and I hope I'm not going off on a big tangent here. I know there's a lot of gimmicky stuff.
Do what you want.
I know there's a lot of gimmicky stuff in the trades. I mean, there just is. Just like any industry. And I think that turns off some people, but also attracts some people. But the great thing about our industry is that there are enough opportunities for kids coming out of high school. That's why it's important to have that conversation, to ask them. Like, there's some job fairs I go to in kind of rural areas. That's one of the rural areas. That word? The kind of the out in the boony areas. And I ask these kids, I'm like, well, what do you want to do? They say, I want to fix stuff. Awesome. I can show you how to do that. You know what I mean? And those guys would be phenomenal working with contractors that are more about, hey, let's be a troubleshooting, diagnosing company. Let's do it. Let's fix it. Let's do it right. And then you have other people that they understand that you can really make money. And I think I'm circling back to around to what I was saying before. Yeah. These kids are amazing. And not everybody's lazy. Not all the kids are lazy. I know it's easy to say that. Back in my day, not all these kids are lazy. You just have to communicate with them a little bit different. And you have to understand that they're growing up in a world that's different from the world that we grew up in. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah. Well, John, any final thoughts here? Dan, I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to post your little thing here. If you want to get in touch with Dan, you can get in, it's not toilet. You can get in touch with Dan
Turlet.
Turlet. You can go to bluecollartalentscouts.com. His name is Dan. Pretty awesome. Any final words before we part ways here?
No, man. Hey guys, I definitely appreciate the opportunity for sure. And at the risk of over apologizing, hopefully that little connection didn't screw it up, and hopefully the strong ending, we'll take it home, baby, like the Cowboys, because this is our year. I mean, it's just our year, and that's just the way it is.
Every year is your year.
Well, hold on. Let's make a bet here right now, live in front of everybody. I don't want to bet for money. I want to bet for eyebrows. Are you in?
Yeah. Let's go.
No, seriously, bet for eyebrows. This season, the Cowboys get further than, what is it called? The Chickens? The Eagles? Who's your team?
Chickens.
The biplanes.
There's no chickens.
The Jets.
Okay, so let's do this. How about this? I'll put a bet on it. I'll say the Jets go further in the playoffs than the Dallas Cowboys.
An eyebrow.
I'm not shaving my eyebrow. We'll come up.
Then you don't love your team. I'm betting an eyebrow.
We'll come up with something.
Shave it. I will shave the eyebrow. If the Cowboys, if the Jets beat the Cowboys, and I'm talking the whole season, I'm talking the end of the season, right? If Jets get further along in the playoffs and everything, the Cowboys, I will come back on your podcast and I will shave an eyebrow off live.
Dan, 2-1. It's 2-1 here. It's $100 each, a donation to the charity of the choice.
So, well, okay. I mean but that's an easy bet, right? Let's. Do you guys love your team or not? How about this?
Dan loves.
I also love my eyebrows, and I'm in houses trying to sell shit for a living.
How about this?
So I'm not going to go into these houses with one eyebrow. Be like, hey.
See, you're talking to somebody that believes in their team. So since it's 2 against 1, I'll shave both of my eyebrows. You guys only have to shave one, and I'll do it live on your show. How could you say no to that?
Oh,
because it's not my show.
I'm gonna say no to that, but I will come up with a bet that the Jets will go further this year than the Cowboys will.
Okay? You have to make it an interesting bet. I did this bet one time with a guy who was a Giants fan, and the way that we did it is we both, and this is back when I was doing the haunted house. We eyebrows, right? Yeah. See, was that your wife?
Dana,
I don't know who this woman. I don't know who this woman
Mama,
is.
You better talk to him. I'm telling you. Well, here's the thing: if you reject this bet, you have to start wearing long sleeve shirts because you can't show the guns if you can't hold the guns, dog.
Hey Dan, I got a question for you.
I got 7 answers.
All right, cool. So what do you get if you cross a cat with a parrot?
Oh my gosh, paracat.
A carrot.
Oh.
and with that, folks, I will be saying goodbye. I will be adieu.
Everett, no guts. If you don't make that eyebrow bet, don't believe in the Jets. You have to burn all your Jets gear. Seriously, everybody out there who likes the Jets, this guy clearly doesn't give a crap about your team. He cares more about his face than he does about his team. You're
equating
about the Jets off your social media.
This guy is out of his mind. Listen, I really hope you get on Kill Tony. Like, I really hope you get on Kill Tony because I think you're going to be like really hilarious. And I'm rooting for you, man. So guys, reach out to Dan Baker. I'm gonna just make a couple of announcements here. Love you, dude.
Hey, thanks, dude.
See you, man. Couple things. We went a little bit over, but that's okay. He had some technical difficulties. So next week, HVAC Nate is on the 15th. He says it's on Monday. Fine, it's on Monday. I'll put an announcement out there. Two, I have Ken Goodrich coming up. We're getting dates together. I have Tommy Mello coming up, and I also have Billy Stevens next week. Okay, guys. All right, guys. See ya.